You've just stepped into the only place where Hornets sting, Panthers growl, and 49ers try not to blow a fourth quarter lead. Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show, hosted by a guy who loves sports named Ethan. We're talking Queen City sports with just the right amount of bias and way too much caffeine. Let's get it going.
Let's go, baby. Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel called Ethan the Broadcaster, capital E, Ethan, capital T, the capital B Broadcaster. And if you're watching on YouTube, go follow me on Spotify. The link is in my channel bio or right here in this video's description. We're building a growing community around sports, hype, energy, and real conversations, and I'm glad you're here for it. If you want to connect, ask questions, or be a part of the show, because you can email me at any time, all lowercase, once again, all lowercase, ethanthebroadcaster@gmail.com. I'll spell that out for you, ethanthebroadcaster@gmail.com. If you want to, or just hit the email button in my YouTube channel's main description. And don't forget, the podcast is now on Instagram too, at all lowercase, at Buzz and Roar Show. Once again, all lowercase, Buzz and Roar Show. All right, settle in, because this is the Buzz and Roar Show. Let's get it going, baby.
Let's dive into the show with a game to start us off. It's kickoff time here on the Buzz and Roar Show. Who's ready? I know I am.
All right, so kickoff here on the Buzz and Roar Show. If you're new here, usually I just do games and stuff like that. By the way, if you are new here, I promise you it doesn't look great right now. The background doesn't look amazing, does it? But I promise y'all it will be one day soon. With it, I'm trying to grow this podcast so huge. It is going to be it's going to be such a big podcast. And later today, we have an interview. That's why I'm trying to keep my talking short, because that interview was 25 minutes long. So I'm trying to keep the kickoff and then the one segment I'm doing under 10 minutes. So this is going to be really quick, because the entire interview is all about college football between Charlotte 49ers and then a special question at the end about everybody. You stay tuned for that. He's such a good guy. I mean, great guy. By the way, link in the description with his socials. Actually, wait, as this video is coming out, it's already been revealed who it is, so I guess we can go and give it to you. If you haven't already known who the special guest is, then I guess I'll do a quick little drum roll for you. So, let me just go ahead and do this. Yeah, I mean, because some people may not have heard who it is, so, I mean, I guess I will go and tell you guys if you haven't. But I will say, I mean, if you are paying attention, then you have heard. But all his links will be down below. 3, 2, 1, drum roll, please. College football addiction. He's got over almost 30,000 subscribers. Hopefully, a couple of his subs will come over here. I mean, I just am grateful for the opportunity to be able to interview this guy. He is amazing at what he does. But now, of course, let's go and get to the main part about kickoff, because that interview isn't here yet. We've still got to get to that part of the day. We have still got to go there, okay? We aren't even there yet. We aren't. We are not there yet. So, what should I do anyways today? Because, I mean, usually I am prepared for it, because I do a game. If y'all are new here, I do a game every day before the game starts. That seems cool. That seems really cool. I mean, I'm doing sports still. I will say I'm doing sports still again, but I'm curious what exactly to do is what I'm saying. Okay. Sure. Let's just... This seems really cool. Let's just do this. Hopefully this will be short. It does not look very short, so hopefully this will be very short. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, of course, with the game. Like I've already said, We're playing Sportstal. It's like, oh, I just clicked that again. It's like if Wordle had a baby with sports, I guess. I mean, that's literally what it is. But this today is like, how do I say this? It's, if you had to guess, like, they're slowly going to reveal every player, and I have to guess what year and what team. So you have Michael McCarron there. I think he played on the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, I'm just taking a couple normal guesses. Oh! So it is the Canadiens. But I don't know the year. Dwight King. Was it the year before? That's cool how I know for a fact it's the Canadiens already. Like, this is a quick game. Canadiens. You have Torrey Mitchell. Alexander Radulov. I have not heard that name in a while. Okay. Could it be like the COVID year? That seems about right. Like 21 to 22. Let's do 21 to 22. That's not right. Never mind. Because Jordy Ben is on here and Daniel Carr is on here. Okay. And I can assure you of this. I've not heard them in forever. I'm going to go all the way back to 2014 to 2015. Okay. It's not that far back. I didn't think so, but I was just making sure. They have not revealed any goalies. Steve Ott is another really old guy. I love how I got the team correct first try. This is like best case. I mean, there's not that many years that I can guess. It's got to be 20. I mean, okay, there's really not that many more years that I can guess. Montreal Canadiens. Was it the COVID year? Okay, no, it was not the COVID year. I've already guessed. I haven't done that. Okay, it was. It was 22 to... No. Oh, it was 2016 to 2017. The one thing I didn't guess. Daggone it, man. Okay, well, that's disappointing. See, of course, I knew it was the Canadiens, but I mean, I remember the Penguins winning the Cup that year. Or maybe it was the year before or after. See, I can tell you this. I know so much about goalies. If I saw Carey Price and Charlie Lindgren out there, I was going to guess, like, right off the bat, 2016, 2017. Because, I mean, I do remember when Carey Price and Charlie Lindgren was on the Canadiens. And it does seem familiar about those years. See, I mean, I guessed, like, right before it. I got the Canadiens first try. So, I mean, that's got to be good, right? That's got to be good. I'm trying to keep this podcast really short, so we're gonna because I mean that was the goal when I changed formats a couple weeks ago. And in case you're new here, I did change formats. So we're gonna go and hop into the next segment. A new segment, by the way, and it's going to be a quick segment that will then lead to, of course, the end of the podcast, because the end of the podcast is the interview that was 25 minutes long. So here we go. Let's go and go to the next segment here on the Buzz and North Show. 2-minute drill.
There's 2 minutes on the clock. Let's do some fast-paced, hot Charlotte sports takes in under 2 minutes. How many will Ethan make? I don't know. It's worth finding out. Is he the hot take king? Let's go.
All right, guys, 2-minute drill. So this is, okay, so I kind of got to give y'all a little heads up what it is. It's like hot takes. I mean, it's exactly what the guy said on the little intro thing for this. It's hot takes because it's a brand new segment. I haven't done this so far with the new format. There's still, like, I think there's still 6. I think there's still 5 or 6 new segments that I haven't done. So we're going to slowly work our way up. But, yeah, so 2-minute drill. Let's go and get this over with. 3, 2... Let's see if I'm the hot take king, baby. 1, go. So, guys, I see why Bryce Young is getting the most attention, but personally, I think Xavier Legette, Tedero McMillan, and Jalen Coker should possibly be getting at least a lot more than they are. More than Bryce Young? Maybe. Because they were breaking people's ankles that game. They were going off that game, okay? They were going crazy. It's unbelievable. Tedero McMillan, 8 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdown catches. Xavier Legette, 4 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown catch. He finally showed flashes of who he really is. And then, of course, Jalen Coker and Tommy Tremble did great to him, but, I mean, that was his only catch of the day at the end of the day. But, I mean, that was still a great end to the game. Tommy Tremble, he had 1 reception, 54 yards. Jalen Coker, 4 receptions, 52 yards. Then Rico Dowdle actually had 5 receptions for 55 yards, funny enough. But what I'm getting at here is I don't think Bryce should be getting all the credit because those receivers were breaking people's ankles, getting open just like they should, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Bryce Young didn't do good. I'm just saying I don't know if he should be getting as much credit as he is over the receivers. Second point is this. Why is nobody talking about Con Knipple? Because I have not heard anything from Stephen A. Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, Chuck, Ernie, Kenny. I don't care who you are. If you're an NBA analyst, I have heard nothing from your mouth come out of your lips about Con Knipple, okay? It's all about Cooper Flag, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards. It's always the same. But guess what? Con Knipple is easily the best rookie in the league. He easily is. Then my third thing is this. The Panthers have the best defense in the league. I get that sounds crazy. They have shown it. They just have to execute it. If they execute the fact that they're the best team in the league, then they are easily, like, the holders of that title. They just have to play like it. They just can't make bad mistakes in the end. And that is it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, geez, I actually love doing that. That was crazy. Okay. Whew. Goodness gracious. I think I'm the hot take king, baby. Okay. I don't even know if y'all heard what I was saying because I barely even heard what I was saying. I was trying to talk really fast there, of course, but 2-minute drill's over. Let's go to the interview with TJ Pittenger. Once again, down below, his links are there. Twitter, YouTube, everything is down below on Spotify and YouTube. TJ and Ethan's interview coming up here. Overtime here on the Buzz and Roar Show. Let's get after it. And then, of course, it'll be the end of the Buzz and Roar Show.
This is Overtime, where we go beyond Charlotte, bring in special guests, and finish the show off strong.
Hey guys, just before this interview starts, I just wanted to come on here and very quickly say that there's like 2 or 3 times during this interview that like a pop-up pops up saying like internet connection is unstable or something annoying like that where like you can't even see our faces for like 2 to 3 seconds. So YouTube viewers, just ignore that, please. I promise it goes away. I had to click off of it. Next time I will just record straight from the Zoom software because I didn't think of those pop-ups coming on the screen. This time I was just screen sharing, and so that's why it showed. But Spotify viewers, it doesn't affect you because you can't see the screen. However, once again, YouTube viewers, just ignore it. And yeah, just ignore it. I promise y'all, it goes away. All right, so now officially, Overtime segment starts now. Overtime here on the Buzz and Roar Show. Let's go. Welcome to Overtime here on the Buzz and Roar Show. I have a very special guest here on the Buzz and Roar Show today. He runs a YouTube channel with over 20,000 subs, and all his socials will be linked down below. The YouTube channel is called College Football Addiction, and there he is. TJ, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Great. I'm ready to do it with you today. So, we're talking about the Charlotte 49ers. Of course, I know you know a lot about sports, considering that you actually asked me to give you the questions beforehand, and you're actually studying these. But, so this team has done pretty bad this year. I mean, I mean, just
Yeah.
really bad this year. And so, I mean, it's pretty disappointing because I have to cover them every week. And so I kind of thought I could bring you on here to give me stuff to talk about because I mean, the Charlotte 49ers segments are so short now on the show because, I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing to talk about anymore. So, first question is just why do you personally think they have done so bad? Could it be the lack of depth at the wide receiver core, all the injuries? That could be it. Just where do you think it really falls into play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of things, as opposed to just one culprit. I do think, yeah, you mentioned depth at wide receiver. The defense has underperformed. I mean, I think year one of, new thing, like this was a rebuild from the start. The offense doesn't really have an identity. The scheme looks a little off. So there's just a ton there, right? And so not to pile on for any 49ers fans or people that follow along, but I mean, offensively, they're pretty abysmal. I mean, they average less than 20 points a game, which is near the bottom of the FBS. Their schedule is pretty tough. And so when you're not scoring a lot of points and you're playing against good competition, it's really easy for things to snowball. You mentioned the wide receiver depth. I don't really know that they have great playmakers, which puts extra pressure on other guys on offense for them to have to overperform what maybe they should be. I mean, the 49ers are averaging giving up almost 40 points a game. So, I mean, it's just kind of everything. But, I mean, it may be a little bit to be understood with where they're at right now as a program and understanding that this was going to be a rebuild, but they're often fighting from behind. Tim Albin trying to embed his culture and build a program as opposed to just building a roster for a single season. I think a lot of that just takes time. And so maybe it's been more disappointing than folks would have even thought at the outset, but I don't think it should be insanely shocking that they're in the position they're in right now. I mean, yeah, they're on a 7-game losing streak. Yeah, they're 1-9 and can't find any consistency. And so you'd like to have maybe squeaked out a couple of the games that were a little bit closer. But then they played App State and UNC, nobody expected them to win those games. And yeah, they've not been good in conference, right? Losing all 7 of those games. But with where they're at as a program, this is a multi-year rebuild at the end of the day.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, honestly, that was crazy. Everything you said there was, I mean, I have not thought about most of the things you just said. I mean, I definitely agree with that. Now, here's the second question, because I do think that they have improved over the course of the season. So I'm just going to ask you, do you think they have improved? Of course, we saw the close win against North Texas, then they choked in the fourth and just stuff like that. So do you think they personally have improved in the fourth? I mean, not in the fourth quarter. Do you think they have personally improved over the course of the season?
Yeah, I think so. It's incremental improvement, right? Like they haven't seen some massive win streak or really many wins at all. But I do think that they are more competitive when you look at their game from a game by game basis. Like we can look at the North Texas game and say, man, they really got up for that and they played well. And then it kind of got away from them late. But if you're not just looking at the box score and you really watch the games, they do look like they're improving. And that is probably symptomatic of, hey, it takes time for a coach to get his, what he's trying to get across to his players through to them, right? Like in year one, week one, it's hard to just all of a sudden have it go the way you want. And so sometimes it takes time. We see teams get better throughout the year. We've seen that at some of the big programs. We've seen that all over. I mean, look at Ohio State last year for the national champion. Once they got into the playoffs, they really gelled. And so teams gel at different times. It's not surprising to me that Charlotte has started to maybe show you some signs that maybe they can, if some of their earlier games had happened now, would they be in a little bit of a different situation? I mean, maybe. So it hasn't translated to wins, but I do think there's been, more competitive football being played, a little bit closer margins through a lot of games, fourth quarter, kind of gotten away from them at times. I think they've been better on third downs later. I think they've been better in the red zone. They've limited big plays better, but again, you're implementing a new scheme. It's a new staff. Some of that roster, you're trying to figure out who these players are, who you can kind of rely on in certain situations. So yeah, I mean, I think there has been improvement. It is incremental, but I know everybody wants to see wins and losses being what's improved. But I do think there is some hope, some optimism that they are getting a little bit better through the year.
Yeah, I mean, of course, watch the film and just watch the highlights and also watch the games every week. So I'm before the podcast every week. No, after the podcast every week. But every week I watch the games because I have to study them before the podcast, and they're easier to watch. If that says anything, they're definitely easier to watch, and they're definitely playing more competitive for sure. They're just like you said. You like to see the wins and losses coming in, but not the losses, but you like to see the wins coming in, but they're just not right now, and sometimes you just wonder why. But right now, they're definitely playing more competitive. Now, there's a term in college football and other times and just other leagues called the hot seat for head coaches. Do you think just from this first year, Tim Albin is just right off the bat on the hot seat because of how bad he's losing in these margins of losses? Or do you think he's not because it's his first season and he's trying to get in the flow of the game?
Yeah, I think you almost get year one as a year zero, and they really don't count it against you. Would they have liked for him to get a little bit more from a win-loss perspective? Probably. But at the same time, I think they're very aware and very understanding of the situation that he took over. They hired him because he won he had 3 straight 10-win seasons at Ohio. Yeah. And so they know the kind of program that he can build. Before he had those 3 straight 10-win seasons, Ohio went 3-9. And so I think they understand that hey, this was not a 1-year turn it around and all of a sudden we're competing for the G5 spot. So no, I would say he's not on the hot seat at all. I might put it at a 1 or a 2 out of 10, right? I don't think that the pressure is building that high. I think it's fairly low. I do think that next year is kind of all right, we need to see some progress. And we're not saying that it's got to be a bowl game. We're not saying it's got to be 7-5, but we need to see, if they finish this year out without getting a win in the last 2 weeks, which, seems kind of unlikely with who they have left, UGA and Tulane. If we, finish this year at 111, we need to get to somewhere around that 4 mark, right? We need to be fighting for a bowl in November. And whether we get there or not, then, we'll see. But there needs to be some pretty substantial growth. If he goes 1-11 again next year, then I think it ratchets up a little bit. But I do think that, it's mostly based on what everything looks like next year.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's kind of just a sort of, it's year one. I do think that, of course, you mentioned the Ohio years. He definitely has had some good years at Ohio. I talked about that on one of the first episodes I ever made of this podcast. He's definitely a good coach. You just wonder if he's going to lead specifically this team with his scheme to that point. Now, what do you think this team could do to finish the season off strong, whether it's wins or not, just strong, keep it within 3 points or 7 point or 1 possession offensively and defensively?
Yeah, I think so. To really set expectations with the 2 opponents they have left, 2 teams that are very much fighting for the, college football playoff. I wouldn't set expectations super high, right? I think Georgia, just with how they're playing right now, you probably are not going to look at that and take much away. And then I think Tulane is really good too. They're certainly not UGA, but I do think you want to see little things like effort. I do think that if you're able to drive the field at all, you would like to see, the red zone conversion continue to trend in the right direction. I think you want to see them take care of the ball as much as they can. UGA and Tulane already have a talent advantage. And so you don't want to just get so vanilla that you run the ball 3 times and punt it so that you're not turning the ball over. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not giving teams that already have a big advantage an even bigger advantage over you. And so, I think that the way that their effort is displayed over these next couple of weeks is a big deal. Because let's be frank, I don't know if there are even people within that locker room, you like to go into every game thinking you have a chance to win. I don't even know if there are people in that locker room that really believe they have a chance to win, especially this week. And then, maybe a little bit more against Tulane, you would think.
Yeah.
But I think effort is pretty big. I think you'd like to play as clean as possible, not have penalties that drive you back and make your task even, taller, not have turnovers that give UGA and Tulane short fields. And so if you can play relatively with relatively good effort and relatively good, execution, right? I don't expect, Charlotte to have 16 broken tackles against UGA, but can you not blow assignments, and can you show good effort, and can you not have stupid penalties? I think those are the things you're looking for because, again, not trying to be super negative, you're probably not winning these two games and they may not even be very close. But if you can come out with good effort like you did for 2.5, 3 quarters against North Texas or just whomever, then I think you have something to capitalize on there.
Yeah. I do think that, if we can just at least not really compete, but compete in a way that says, like, we're not as bad as people think. Does that make any sense? I don't know how I'm trying to say this. I mean, I'm just trying to rephrase what you said, but just like in general, I mean, I agree completely what you said. I was just trying to rephrase it, but I do completely agree with that. Now, this question, I'm curious how you're even going to answer it because it is what if the craziest thing ever, probably this season in college football, happens and Charlotte beats Georgia? How would they even, like, how would that happen? Like, what would need to be done on Tim Albin's part, the offensive and defensive coordinator's part? I mean, just all around, what do you think would need to be happened on Charlotte's part to even get close to winning or maybe even pull off that upset?
Yeah, they probably have to come out with like every trick in the book, right? And then execute on them at an extremely high level. Um, you know, I mean, you would have to pull off a couple of trick plays. You'd have to finish the game with no turnovers. You would probably need Georgia to give you a couple of freebies. And even with all of that, Georgia still might be that much better where they can just kind of line up and run the ball effectively because they've got such an advantage in the trenches. But if you can shorten the game, if you can, this is a lot to ask again, but if you can run the ball somewhat effectively and kind of control the clock, maybe you can get into the fourth quarter and only be down a score or two. And then maybe a Georgia mistake would lead to a short field for Charlotte, and they're able to kind of pull out a trick play at the right time. There's a reason that Georgia is favored by as much as they are in this game. I don't know if there really is a super realistic path, but I think if you're Charlotte, you're trying to, just give max full effort and hope that Georgia's sleeping a little bit because they just had a very emotional win against Texas, and they've got a rivalry game next week. So you're hoping you can catch them sleeping, and you're hoping you just execute to a level that, frankly, you haven't done all year. You're probably gonna have to again pull out a couple of trick plays and hope they work really, really well, and you keep it close in the fourth quarter, and then just hope for the craziness of college football to take over. I think it is probably. It would be the result of the year. It would be the most shocking result that we got in 2025. But those would be, if you're dreaming, kind of your ideal scenario of how you could get there.
Yeah, when you said catch them sleeping, it's kind of, you may not watch the National Football League as much as I do because, of course, you see me wearing the Panthers jersey after that win against the Falcons. Bryce Young balled out. But Bryce Young, the Saints loss with the Panthers, Dave Canales came after the game and said, "Oh, that was probably the laziest practice we've ever seen as a head coach, and we just kind of thought, oh my gosh, we're going to win because the Saints are so bad." You almost want to see if you can beat Georgia because Georgia had that mentality the whole week because they're like, oh, Charlotte's so bad, there's no way we're going to lose. And then Charlotte notices that, and they come out and win because Georgia knows, quote, they're going to win when they end up losing. And so I do like how you said, like, catch them sleeping because, that really is, kind of how I thought about it earlier, too. Now, this one I'm extremely excited about because, I mean, I told you before the interview I was extremely excited about. Who do you personally think is the best college football team at this very moment, and who do you think is going to win this year's national championship? Really, I just want the national championship answer. I mean, I don't necessarily need who do you think is going to be the best team in college football at the end of the year, but that's up to you. But I want to give my take first. Now, here's the thing, because I wrote a pretty long paragraph. It's not that long though. So you didn't know this, I'm sure, but I'm predicting every single game this season for FBS Division One college football games. Like every game, no matter what, I'm predicting them from week 1 to week 16 because it's the Army Navy game too, whatever. No matter who they play. So I actually predicted the playoff bracket before the season started as well. Like just did a way too early season predictions, and I had Miami versus South Carolina. Of course, at the time, that's not a bad choice. I mean, those two teams were top in the country at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, I'm sure Pat McAfee, you would have to scroll back a while ago, but I mean, bringing up him, he's a really good analyst, probably one of my favorites, and he definitely had South Carolina up there too, and Miami. Now, South Carolina definitely won't make it, but I do think Miami is my first candidate. Not going to win. I do not think they're going to win at this moment. I will tell you who I'm going to win in a second. But Miami is a candidate still no matter what. They are 8-2, top 15 in the nation, and considering we saw Clemson make it last year at 9-3, I'm not doubting Carson Beck's abilities. I'm just not. I do not want to doubt Carson Beck at all. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I have never doubted him in my lifetime. I'm just being honest. Now, let's bring the former champions Ohio State into the picture. I think they're a lot younger this year. They have some younger guys this year, which of course we've seen in the past under the lights and having a quarterback who's 19. I think he's either a redshirt freshman or a sophomore, a true sophomore, or maybe a redshirt sophomore. I didn't really pay attention to that, but he's 19 and still, it could go one of two ways because he's 19, he's younger, and we've seen it in the past. A young quarterback in the playoffs could either go really good or really bad. I mean, it really could. Now, Julian Sayin is really good, so I'm not saying he can't win it all. He is extremely talented. He's going to be a top pick in the NFL draft when he gets drafted. But, I mean, I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying he's younger, and I don't think that he is going to be the team on the team Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State is going to be the team who I have winning. I do have a team who I think is going to win it, and that is my final team. This is the team who I think is winning it all. I think Texas A&M is going to win it all. And here's the thing. Marcel Reed is just as young as Julian Sayin, but he has got, and of course you bring Jeremiah Smith into the picture. I mean, Julian Sayin does have a good wide receiver too, but Marcel Reed is just as young as Julian Sayin, but he has so many great, up-and-coming, older-ish, maybe the same age, but still a little older and more experienced players around him at the wide receiver position, tight end position, and the O-line and defense is doing great too. So, the wide receivers are so good. If he can't win, here's my thing. If he can't win with NC State transfer Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver surrounding him, then there's got to be something seriously wrong because those two guys are just so good. I don't see them. There's so much surrounding him, and they're just all around a great team. I don't know how. I just don't see Texas A&M losing. If they do, my word's wrong, but I don't know. But I would like to hear yours because, kind of like the NFL this year, it's so open compared to the past couple years. It's just such an open thing. Like, it could be anybody. You've got Indiana up there, just so many, so many people. So, I would like to hear who you think is going to win the championship.
Yeah, I think you make some great points. I'll say this. It is wide open. And I think any number of these teams, Ohio State could absolutely win it. Indiana could absolutely go out and win it. I think A&M, I mean, I love Craver and Concepcion. They're so much fun.
Fast.
Cassius Howell on the other side is phenomenal. I think Georgia could be rounding into form and they could be a competitor this year for sure. They've been up and down at times, but their win against Texas showed how when all things are clicking, they can just absolutely dominate still. Even though Alabama lost, I still think they have the talent. I think Oregon's a really good team. I think Notre Dame's a good team. I think Texas Tech is, I don't know that I think that Texas Tech could absolutely win it, but man, if they got a good draw and got a kind of a favorable schedule, kind of like Penn State did in the playoff, they could certainly be there at the end. And so, yeah, there's a ton of teams. Oklahoma, with what they've shown the last couple of weeks, being able to play defensively like they do. Yeah, so you're right. Like, it is as wide open as it's ever been. It is really hard for me to pick against Ohio State right now. And I know that's the trendy pick. I know they're the favorite. I do think that if I had to put money on it at this moment, it would be Ohio State. And then my upset pick right now would this isn't even really an upset pick, but if Georgia found something in that game, I think Gunnar Stockton's playing as good as any quarterback in the country right now. If Georgia found something in that game against Texas and they start playing like that, like if they come out and just dominate Georgia Tech in 2 weeks, they would be trying to read so much into just one game, but they absolutely could be a team that competes for it. So I'll stick with Ohio State. That's who I predicted before the season. But Georgia's kind of like that team that I think I have my eyes on the most. I'm a big believer in A&M, but their first half against South Carolina scared me. So they get credit for coming back. But I do think that I put Georgia just a little bit ahead of them because of that.
Now, I have a question, though, before we go, of course, but not debating you about Ohio State here. I'm just asking, and I'm not saying Ohio State hasn't played good teams because they've definitely played good teams, but of course, at the beginning of the year, Texas wasn't as good as they are now. I mean, Arch Manning was not playing. I guess he was trying to get just ready in the college level. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, at the beginning of the year, he really just wasn't playing as well, in my opinion at least. And then, I mean, they played a Grambling State, Ohio, and then at Washington. Washington isn't bad necessarily, but I don't think they're necessarily a team that is going to just be the first pick who's going to beat Ohio State. Then they played Minnesota. Illinois is not bad at all, but I also think it's kind of the same thing with Washington and Illinois. They're kind of inconsistent, I guess. They're kind of inconsistent. Then Wisconsin is pretty great. Well, usually they are. They're 3-7 this year, but usually they're pretty great. So usually I'd say they have a chance to beat Ohio State, but this year I would say no. I mean, especially at the time, I mean, they lost 34-0. Then Penn State, this year they kind of slowed down a little. At the start, they were doing really good there. And, I mean, they fired James Franklin and stuff. These last couple weeks are Rutgers and Michigan. Of course, I mean, Michigan has a chance. Rutgers, they're most likely going to beat. So my final thing is just, do you think that, like, you could take and just debate a different team besides Ohio State because of the level of competition? Because I do feel like that Georgia, I mean, Texas A&M, just a couple other teams have played a little bit rougher and better teams than Ohio State this year.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that angle is, I think that's a great point. And I think that it's really hard to compare teams that are like more battle tested, like some of the SEC programs that you've talked about, or even Indiana, who I think has had a tougher schedule. And I do agree, like Texas was not a great team in week one. And I don't even know if they're a great, I don't even know if they're a great team now. I think they've improved as the year has gone on. But, you know, they did find a way to get the win, you know, in Sands' first start too. So I do think they get some credit for that. And they did a good job in the red zone against Texas. And so it's really hard to debate, you know, this team that hasn't played anybody all year versus a team like Georgia, who's played very good competition week in and week out. I think it could go both ways. You could go with the argument of, oh, well, Georgia's more battle tested, but are they more beat up because they've had to play a tougher schedule? So, yeah, I mean, Ohio State also, the way that we saw them turn it on last year, I think a lot of people are assuming that they do that this year too, that they just get to the playoff and that's really where they lock in. And there's nothing to say that they absolutely will. Now they might get there again and just be like, all right, we're going gangbusters again and going to beat everybody's brains in like we did last year. But I think there's a really good argument for the fact that Ohio State hasn't played anybody yet. I still think that the talent they have is pretty remarkable. When you talk about Jeremiah Smith and you talk about the way that I think Sayan's playing really well right now. Yeah. I think their trenches are great. They're good on the offensive and defensive line. And a lot of that is me projecting because we haven't seen them play the level of competition that Georgia has or Bama has or Oklahoma or again, even Indiana. But I do think that they're still really, really talented. I think they have the best player in college football out at wide receiver who just does insane things week after week after week. And I do think Julian Sayin is a top 5 quarterback in the country right now, the way he's playing. So with all of that, they're also going to, they're a favorite against Indiana. Now they could lose that game, but at worst, I think Ohio State's going to be like the 1 or 2 seed because I think with the SEC teams having multiple losses, I think that it'll probably be Ohio State, Indiana at 1 and 2. And so they're going to get to play potentially an easier path of playing lower ranked teams. So with all that in mind, I like the way that it sets up for Ohio State. I do think you're right. Like we're going to find out a lot about how good this team is because I think we all think they're good, but we haven't seen it proven yet.
Yeah. I definitely agree with everything that you've said today, and I think that's going to do it for this interview. Thank you for coming. Hopefully I could get you on here in the future, of course, later on. I see you're wearing a Florida State shirt. I'm a Tar Heels fan, of course. That's not going very well. I'm sure you've made some points on your channel there. Go check out his channel on YouTube. Once again, links are probably at the top of the screen right here and in the description below. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, TJ, for coming on. And that's it for the Buzz and Roar Show because that's the last segment of the day. So I will see you guys later. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Buzz and Roar. We talk about sports, all kinds of sports. If you like the show, hit subscribe or follow. We'll be back soon with more stuff to share. Thanks again, and see you next time.